Welcome back, and welcome to the Jikook Lover channel, a place where every step, every silence, and every small gesture carries a meaning the world can't stop trying to decode. That morning, Incheon International Airport looked ordinary. Flight announcements echoed softly, suitcases rolled across the terminal floor, and winter light filtered through the massive glass walls. Everything felt routine, until one moment changed it all. Jungkook of BTS appeared. No official announcement. No public schedule released in advance. But this time, not without acknowledgement. Dressed entirely in black from head to toe, Jungkook stepped forward with a calm presence that immediately drew attention. A black cap sat low, a matching mask covered most of his face, yet none of it could hide the unmistakable aura he carried. As reporters raised their cameras and flashes followed his every movement, Jungkook briefly lifted his hand and waved toward the press. It was a simple gesture. Short, quiet, but powerful enough to shift the atmosphere instantly. It wasn't an enthusiastic wave. It wasn't a bright smile meant for the cameras. It was polite, composed, almost as if he were saying, "I know you're here. I see you." And precisely because of its restraint, the gesture felt meaningful. Army watching the footage felt a mix of emotions. Relief, because Jungkook looked well. Warmth, because he still acknowledged the press. And at the same time, an even deeper sense of curiosity. Because after that wave, Jungkook lowered his hand and continued walking forward with unmistakable focus. His long black coat fell neatly along his frame, moving gently with each step. In one hand, he held a cold drink, an ordinary detail that made the moment feel strikingly human. In the other, his bag was held firmly, as if carrying more than just travel essentials. His pace was steady, not rushed, but clearly intentional. And that's when the questions began to surface. If this were just a routine trip, why did it feel so different? If this were ordinary, why did Jungkook appear so guarded, yet still chose to greet the press? Reporters later noted that after waving, Jungkook didn't stop. He didn't speak. He didn't offer any explanation. He simply walked on, allowing silence to replace words. That silence felt familiar. Because Jungkook has always been that way, giving just enough, while leaving space for interpretation. Army immediately began recalling past moments. Departures that started with small gestures, a nod, a brief wave, a quiet smile, only to later be revealed as the beginning of something major. A global project, a creative shift, a personal decision unveiled long after the journey began. And that morning at Incheon Airport, Jungkook's wave felt like a signal. Not an announcement, not a farewell, but a quiet indication that he was stepping into something new. Staff members were present, keeping a respectful distance, ensuring everything ran smoothly. Yet symbolically, Jungkook appeared to be traveling on his own terms. And that made the moment feel even more significant. Because the Jungkook who waved at reporters that day wasn't trying to disappear completely. He showed himself. He acknowledged the moment. But he chose not to explain anything. The silence after that wave spoke louder than words. And Army knew one thing for certain. When Jungkook moves like this, something is being prepared. After that brief wave, Jungkook did not slow down. He didn't look back toward the cameras, and he didn't leave room for questions. The gesture felt complete, as if it marked a clear boundary between public presence and personal space. And that was when the silence grew heavy. Those at the airport noticed it immediately. Jungkook looked calm, but not casual. His composure carried weight. Every step suggested that his thoughts were already far beyond the terminal itself. Army watching through their screens began to focus on every detail. The way he held his drink, firm but relaxed. The way his long black coat followed his stride, controlled, unhurried. The way his head dipped slightly after the wave, as if, after acknowledging the world, he returned to his own. That world felt closed. There were no extra gestures, no playful moments, no obvious signals. And yet, for Army, that absence became the strongest signal of all. Because Jungkook is never quiet without reason. Speculation spread rapidly online. Fans compared dates. Others analyzed his outfit against previous airport appearances. Some recalled times when Jungkook also wore all black, moments that later preceded major announcements. It didn't feel coincidental. The all-black outfit felt deliberate. Not just a fashion choice, but a statement. Black is neutral, safe, yet layered with meaning. It can signal seriousness, focus, or transition. And Jungkook seemed to be standing right at that point, at transition. Recently, Jungkook has spoken less and revealed more through action. He lets time explain what words do not. And ARMY has begun to recognize this version of him, more mature, more intentional, more aware of where he is heading. That was the Jungkook scene at Incheon Airport. Even the way he waved felt different. Not excessive, not performative, just respectful, a quiet acknowledgement paired with distance. He appeared not as a spectacle, but as Jungkook himself. And then, he disappeared into the departure area. Seconds later, the airport returned to normal. But for ARMY, the moment was far from over. In fact, it had only just begun. Because this departure came without confirmation. No agency statement. No accompanying post. No clear explanation. The silence felt intentional. Fans recalled Jungkook's past words about protecting certain things. About choosing what to share and what to keep private. About journeys being less about destinations and more about processes not everyone needs to witness. This trip felt exactly like that. Some believe it's a secret work schedule. Others are convinced it's music-related. And some feel it's personal time, something Jungkook rarely has in full. But one theory stands strongest. That Jungkook is on the edge of something big. Not because he disappeared. Not because he looked busy. But because of how he appeared, calm, composed, and quietly ready. And when Jungkook is ready, the world usually hears it. Not through words, but through results. ARMY knows this well. Experience has taught them that silences like this are always followed by surprises. That unexplained departures often carry stories revealed later. So now, all that remains is waiting. Waiting for the first post. Waiting for the first sound. Waiting for the small clue that finally pulls the curtain back. Because Jungkook's wave at Incheon Airport that morning was not an ending. It was a beginning,